pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, fire evacuation. In case of a fire, there's two ways to exit the chambers. There's the doors right directly behind you, or to my left, your right, go out these doors and go out the exit door and walk a safe distance away from the building. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, Linda DeGray,
Here.
Frank Alamo,
Here.
Ken Helinski is here, Vincent Grillo, Joseph Muley,
Here.
Terrence Lynch,
Here.
John Petronella is out, Christian D'Antonio,
Here.
Walter Crizel,
Here.
Rob Anderson.
Here.
Okay, I am going to see Commissioner D'Antonio and Crizel for the remainder of the meeting. Okay, I will accept the motion for the approval of October 9th minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions, concerns, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. An approval, motion to approve October 23rd
So
special
moved.
meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention. All in favor with one abstention, which is Commissioner Limo. Just had a little mind burp there. Okay, we did have an attorney report. Looks like there's some stuff that's been dropped off, so that's, it's online, like it is all the time. So, looks like we've got some movement going there, which is good. Nothing from the zoning enforcement officer. Okay, at this point of the meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes comments, concerns, and opinions relating to planning and zoning in Enfield from anyone who is present, provided that no one may discuss any matter of business that is on the agenda, any matter that is part of a public hearing, or anything that is pending at this time. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, then I'm going to close the public participation. No bond releases. We don't have a continued public hearing. New public hearing, PH 3134. Mr. Secretary.
Madam Chair, the Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at their special meeting on Thursday, November 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. PH 3134 MA, 90 Elm Street. Application for a zone change from Business Regional BR to Special Development District SDD, Woodsonia Acquisitions LLC applicant, Enfield Square Realty LLC, plus Enfield CH LLC, plus Enfield NASSIM LLC owners. Map 42, Lot 29, Maps 43, Lots 16, 17, 29, 30, 31, and Map 45, Lot 75, BR Zone.
Okay, applicant. And before you start your presentation, I'm going to ask staff to give us a quick.
Thank you, Madam
Update.
Chair. First, I just want to make some corrections on my memo, which was dated dated for tonight's meeting, November 13th. The second page under proposed uses, third line down, it says the new proposal is less at 7 dwelling units per acre. It should read the new proposal is 39 dwelling units per acre. That was a typo, cut and paste thing.
Okay.
And then on the next to last page, under department comments, under the planning, basically that whole paragraph needs to be taken out, as Target was never part of the SDD. That was not understood at the first. And then down under conditions of approval, since we cannot condition rezones, this should just be entitled SDD requirements.
I'm sorry.
Under condition, instead of
Let's go
saying,
back to one just before the conditions. Are you talking about the department comments?
yeah.
Okay.
Under department comments, under planning,
All right,
just take that whole line out.
okay. All right, that's what I was
Yeah,
a little
sorry.
confused on. Okay, and then as conditions, just,
Instead, under the motion to approve, and we have a condition of approval, it should see SDD requirements.
SDD requirements.
Rather than zone designation?
Pardon?
Is that what you're saying? Rather than zone
Rather than
designation?
saying conditions of approval, it should just say SDD requirements.
And not the verbiage?
No, the verbiage is correct.
So
SDD
You're
re-
just going to cross
Okay,
this
great.
out.
Just
Okay,
be-
got it.
Okay. Yep,
It's just
we
a
got it.
misnomer because we can't condition a rezone.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
And I'm just got a quick summary of the application, just kind of general. This is an application for PH 3134 MA to rezone from the business regional zone to a special development overlay district at 90 Elm Street with a master plan for property known as Enfield Square Mall. The proposal does not include the businesses along Elm Street, Wendy's, Figaro's, and Target, and Webster Bank. The remaining SDD site is approximately 72 acres. Post-rezone approval, Woodsonia, the developer, will then proceed to build out the master plan for the new Enfield Marketplace. The proposal is to divide the site into 3 major sections. The west third of the site will entail development of approximately 475 mixed-use and/or multifamily apartments or townhouses at the rate of 39 dwelling units per acre. The central third, including Target, will be allocated for larger box, commercial, and retail uses, while the eastern third will be pedestrian-friendly Main Street-style development with boutique restaurant and retail uses. Typically, a rezone application does not require a submittal of a plan or of a proposed use. With this regulation, a developer can submit a master plan which will dictate the permitted uses, setbacks, density, and other elements of design. Once approved, Woodsonia, acting as the master developer, will build the framework of the site. They will install the utilities, primary roadways, drainage, sidewalks, landscaping, lighting, and other entities or elements. These pad sites will then be developed by another entity. So when I'm explaining this to the general public, I've asked them to think about a standard residential subdivision. A developer will put in the infrastructure and roadways. Then each parcel is sold to another developer who will build a house of a style of their choosing. This is very similar, but with the SDD, Woodsonia acts as the master developer. Woodsonia develops the subdivision, then sells off the parcels for development as permitted with the rezone. The proposed uses are essentially the same as with the business regional zone, with the exception of the permitting of housing. With all rezones, one requirement is to show that the proposal is compatible with the intent of the POCD, or the Plan of Conservation and Development. In this case, an entire section was written for this particular site as a targeted investment area with the regional mall redevelopment. So overall, the proposed uses and development patterns meet or exceed minimum requirements and the intent of the SDD regulations. That's it.
All set?
Yep.
Hi. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Evan Seaman. This is working. That's good.
Yeah.
Evan Seaman on behalf of the applicant, Robinson & Cole, Hartford.
Dean Apostolaris on behalf of the applicant with Kimley Horn and Associates, and our address is 1 North Lexington Avenue, Suite 505, White Plains, New York.
Okay. Gentlemen?
Thank you. And actually,
Suppose
Mitch Holan.
myself an introduction to. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, please.
Hi. Mitch Holan with Sonia Real Estate, 21160 C Street, Elkhorn, Nebraska 68022. I can kind of kick us off, and then Evan and Dean can take any technical questions. But I think we just want to continue to extend our thanks to staff and the commission as well. We're excited to be at this point. This has been a long time in the making, and yeah, we're excited to be here. So I think I'm looking at the document that we submitted. I'm happy to go through this in as much detail as the commission would like, but hopefully this is a document that it is familiar to the planning commission at this point. I think I just want to highlight a few of the updates that we made. None of them are really significant from what we've seen before, but are more so clarifications that we wanted to make and update into the plan. So the first one would be the moderate revisions to the master plan, Exhibit B, and to kind of talk through what those are. I think there was some confusion on permissible uses, so we just wanted to make it really clear, what is and is not acceptable in terms of what uses would be in that. So we added hotel, motel, business and professional offices, business, residential mixed use, theater and entertainment oriented uses, or uses that are similar to those. The other piece that we felt was important is designation of uses. So I think before on the site plan, we had just labeled, some lots as restaurants, some lots as commercial. The intent within this SDD is to clarify that any of the permissible uses as outlined on the master plan could go within those outlots. And when I say that, I'll jump to, I think it's page 17 of the PDF. I don't know that I'm able to share my screen. I might try. Is everybody seeing that? Can you see that? All right. So again, our desire is that commercial, as you can kind of see in the salmon color, any of the commercial uses that we outlined would be acceptable within these lots. And then what we did want to clarify too is the multifamily area. We do want to leave the door open to potentially doing a hotel or 2 hotels in that area. So if you look up in the upper right-hand side, we did designate that that's multifamily residential and hotel hospitality. So if we do end up, having a hotel user come, we do want to make sure that we can accommodate that if possible, but that it could either be residential or a hotel. I think the other key pieces was that we did revise and clarify within the SDD that we would support up to 475 multifamily units. This was corrected from 700 units previously. And then we also wanted to clarify that all the various lots within this subdivision do cross park. So we want to make it clear there is shared parking between all the various lots. And then Dean can probably get into this one a little bit more technically if needed. But we wanted to make it clear that, within the whole SDD project area, there are individual lots within it. But when we're looking at the zoning, the green space, the bulk area, setbacks, coverage, we want to look at that within the context of the overall plan and not necessarily on an individual lot basis. So we just want to make sure that was clear. So with that, I think the other pieces of this were an updated project narrative. I'm not going to go through that line by line, but happy to answer any questions on that. We did submit a revised zoning table as Exhibit C, which was more so we wanted to provide the commission with a comparison of, hey, the previous BR zoning versus the current zoning. What does that look like? We did clarify on the revised zoning map change. I think Target may have inadvertently been included in that. We are not acquiring Target, so we took the Target piece out. And then previously, I think we had passed out hard copies or a hard copy of previous projects that our company has completed, but we did include that as project or Exhibit E. And again, I'd be happy to take the commission through that presentation if they would like, but that does give an overview of projects that we have completed. They're very similar in magnitude to Enfield. 4 of them have been previous NAMDAR properties. So we do. I do hope that document provides some assurance that we are able to kind of deliver on the vision that we're casting for this project.
I am going to ask, but not right now, for you to present those other projects so that
Yeah.
the people of Enfield who are watching this on television will then be able to see some of your projects that you've completed. So,
Sure.
all right, thank you. Anything else you guys would like to?
The only other thing I would point out is that in the revised project narrative, we do go through compliance with the various criteria for the SDD, which is section 5.6 of your regulations, conformance with the plan of conservation and development and other elements, and would be happy to answer any questions there. But I think it's pretty clear from the plan of conservation and development that this commission's long-range planning goals, this community's long-range planning goals include redevelopment of the Enfield Square Mall. It used to be a very important part of this community, and in the POCD numerous times, it's called out for redevelopment and the struggles and the realities of the retail marketplace right now. So happy to answer any questions on that. But in terms of the revised project narrative, I'll stop there. Dean, did you have anything?
Okay, well, I got to say, this was very comprehensive, and thank you for hearing us. So, Walter, any questions? Joe?
Not right now, no.
Right now, I'm good.
Frank?
Nope, again, no site plan, it's just STD tonight,
Terrence?
just a zone change.
Right now.
Okay. Rob?
I have no questions right now.
Christian?
I had some technical questions regarding the minimum lot frontage. You guys proposed 400 foot with the note that it doesn't apply to internal lot lines within the SDD. Totally fine by me. Only applies to external lot lines. So what does it apply to? Can you clarify? It would seem like lots 1 through 5. Those are all 250 foot or less. So, I mean, yeah, if you can clarify, and if not, why don't we drop this down to 250? I don't see what the 400 foot proposed lot frontage is getting at.
Yeah, so as I think Mitch was speaking about just earlier, when looking at this overall development, it is comprised right now of multiple lots, and it in the future is likely to be subdivided or subdivided into the configuration shown on the master plan. But for purposes of compliance with zoning regulations, frontage, setbacks, that sort of stuff, it's to be viewed, and I think as it is right now, as one lot for development, even though it has those multiple parcels. I think, are you, Commissioner D'Antonio, you're pointing out the frontage, and are you saying based on your calculation, the frontage is something different than?
Well, I was looking at it as if so this is the proposed lot frontage within the SDD. You're saying,
Yes.
right? But if lots 1 through 5, it seems like it would only apply to lots 1 through 5. Those are the only ones that are outward facing.
So the lot frontage that we're proposing here is for the overall contiguous development area.
Okay.
And so that lot frontage, our thought on that lot frontage is that it would encompass the continuous frontage along Freshwater for the entire contiguous development area, not on a lot-by-lot basis, so that those individual lots can be shaped or sized to the degree that would be necessary for the purposes of those future developments. And so when we're talking about zoning as a whole for the overall development area, trying to break it down in terms of individual lots, we didn't feel would be prudent right now. I see your point with just bringing the minimum down to 250. I don't see that as being an issue. If that would be something that we'd be okay with, I don't see why we wouldn't want to change that. But 450 was congruent with, I believe, what you have in your BR district today, and so we were trying to achieve a match to that, and felt it was felt it was appropriate here as well.
You're showing it compared to 250. I mean, unless you got that wrong, but you're showing the existing 250. So you almost doubled it. Which to me, it seems like you're kind of like holding yourself in. Maybe through the chair to staff, if that came up in your review. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on kind of the wording or application of that.
Yeah, we could
So-
drop it down to 250. I really don't see an issue with that. We're kind of all talking about the same thing as a contiguous development area. So frankly, the smaller it gets is really not a problem.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Does anybody have an issue with that? It just feels like they're just
Yeah.
like unnecessarily hampering. Not that it makes a difference either way.
Right.
But I think-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think just to allow them the flexibility.
Right. So as Dean alluded to, it's basically the same as what is, they replace what is exactly there now. So the only thing that's different is going to be the uses and the configuration of the uses within the parcel. So if it's 250 or 450, it really doesn't matter because it's that extent of the roadway with the development along the roadway.
Yeah, it makes more sense when you say if like the entire, all the lots combined, basically. So
So it's the whole lot, the whole parcel is going to operate as the BR does now. It's just going to have different configuration of the parcels and the uses. So,
and then related, I just want to clarify. You have the minimum side yard internally for 0 feet, so 0 lot line, which means you could in the future. And just clarifying, I don't have any issue with it. In fact, I think superior. But this would allow you, if you needed to merge those lots or you wanted to do a continuous strip of buildings, that would allow you to do so. That's correct. Is that kind of what you guys were envisioning? The 0 lot lines?
That's correct.
Awesome. Okay. Would you anticipate that, or are you? I know it's a little early to tell. You have it diagrammed out as separate buildings, but then you also have the narrative, right? Describing that area as a Main Street style development. So I see your 0 lot line, and I see that Main Street style development, but then I see what you put out here. I'm like, Main Street-ish. A little more dense, but, so what do you guys take? Are you striving for a more, holistic, more connected buildings, more denser Main Street type, or are you kind of pushing this, insular, like kind of like singular building?
I don't think it'll be one single building, right, that goes all the way across those lots. I think we just want to maintain the flexibility, right? If we end up wanting to position, or we have a user that wants to position a building, closer to a lot line, maybe they want to hug a patio or something, along that and create kind of a more intimate feel. That's more so what we want to preserve. And like Dean said, if we end up having buildings that, we do a larger building that is connected across lot lines, we'd like to be able to do that too. But I don't think it's going to be one long building across, the freshwater frontage, though.
Understood. Well, thanks for that clarification. And I think that's kind of just a good thing to think about, kind of the potential of where this can go. That's all I have for now. Probably have more later.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Woodsonia for the very comprehensive revised narrative that you guys put out. You've addressed a lot of the concerns that we talked about at the last meeting. In particular, designation of mixed-use areas and the capability of permissible uses, which now specifically includes entertainment and gymnasiums and all that. If you look at the whole list later on, it's got everything there that you might have a possibility to have there, like athletic facilities, gyms, and all that. So I appreciate you guys really, designating that. Also, the outdoor mall area, Christian I had asked about that, but I consider that to be the Main Street concept, okay, which Christian just mentioned. So that, I think, satisfies things we talked about last time. Also, initial opinions from the fire service, engineering, and the public schools. The fire service and engineering, they've signed off on it. They're happy with it, so I assume they took everything into account that they needed to take into account. Public schools, we're not used to communicating back with them, but now we have a Board of Ed member on our commission, so, but yeah, we'll figure out how to do that and get communication to the school system. You've given us the detailed mall redevelopments that you've done. I can see a lot that look really good for Enfield, especially the Namdor ones. And then that's about it. So I think you covered pretty much a lot of the concerns that the commission had last time. But of course, we may have more questions. But anyway, thank you.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to ask for you to show us some of your projects you've already done so that the people who are watching can see what we've already seen as part of this project.
Okay. I'll share my screen here.
Thank you.
Okay. Can somebody other than Linda confirm if this is actually on the screen right now?
Yes, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So a little bit about us. We're actually a Midwest-based company here in Omaha, Nebraska. We've got a team of about 20 individuals. Myself and then my partner Drew are the two principals. We've been fortunate. We actually just in the last year completed over $1 billion in development, and a lot of that has been within these mall redevelopment type projects. So we've got 75 properties that we currently own and manage, and then 20, I'm going to call them community-oriented developments, where they're similar in nature to infield. So on this page, you've got a couple different shots of images that we've created or completed. And I think what I'd like to do is kind of break this down into a few different categories. So the first category, which is really going to be most applicable to what we're doing in infield, is our master plan redevelopments. And this is really where we've had, a lot of success, is on these projects that aren't any, just one single element, but do bring in, a handful of different uses. It's been no different on any of these other projects where, we do need to remain nimble. We don't go into them, knowing exactly how this thing is going to develop, but we do have a vision for it. And that's typically, anchor retailers, outlots. We do, in a lot of these cases, bring in entertainment-oriented uses, which we can talk more about. Our company has developed several Topgolf facilities, one here in Omaha, one in Albuquerque. We've developed quite a few family entertainment concepts. We actually own a few family entertainment concepts, which we can talk about. And then we've been fortunate to develop relationships with a few key retailers. So one of them in particular was, like I mentioned, Topgolf. We actually bought, I think it was 10 different car dealerships that sat, right outside of a large mall here in Omaha. We ended up tearing those down, brought Topgolf into the market, and then did, I'm going to say, support retail around that with a handful of multi-tenant buildings. So this project is open, it's operating, it's done. You can go there and hit balls. But we completed this in July of 2020. Another one that I just mentioned is Topgolf in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This was actually a former water park site that had sat vacant for about 10 years, but similar in nature, where it sat on an interstate interchange. We were able to bring Topgolf in after we had completed our Omaha project with them. So this opened in February of 2021, which was an interesting time. This was right in the middle of COVID. So this is a project where we actually stopped all construction midway through it for a period of 4 months because we weren't able to do any work. But we're able to kind of get that back on board and then ultimately completed. So this Topgolf again is open and operating. There's a very large family entertainment concept that is now located directly adjacent to this called Andretti's. They're a great user, but we were able to bring them into the site. We did not develop their location, but they did purchase a lot from us. And I think that facility will be starting construction here within the next year. Mall of the Bluffs. This was actually our first introduction to Namdar. So this is where our relationship started. This was a mall that was located right outside of Omaha, Nebraska, in a community called Council Bluffs. It was a 350,000 square foot enclosed mall. It was not in the shape that Infield was in. It was closer to 50% occupied, so definitely past its useful life. But we had two kind of key retailers for this site. We had Menards, which I don't know if there are Menards in Connecticut, but Menards is a very large home improvement store. So they constructed a 200,000 square foot anchor retail space. You can see right up here on the after. And then we did a large grocery store, Hy-Vee, which is a Midwest-based grocery store on kind of the south end of the site. So you can see the overall site plan here. But the previous site, very similar to what you see at Infield today, where it was an enclosed mall. We tore it down. We took all the infrastructure out. We subdivided it. And then we brought in a handful of these uses to this site. So this was completed. I think this was actually completed in 2022. But again, all these users are open, operating. You can drive through it today, and was ultimately a really successful development for the community of Council Bluffs. Joplin, Missouri is another community that we've been really active in over the past 10 years. We did a master plan project called 32nd Street Place. This was another project that we did anchored by Menards. So Menards built a 213,000 square foot anchor retail site. This was ultimately, I think this was a 40-acre site that we assembled. There was, I think, 8 different underlying landowners, but very underutilized. There was a handful of defunct hotels, but this sat within kind of the prime retail trade area of Joplin, Missouri. So we were able to bring all that kind of together, assemble it, put in all the new infrastructure. And then ultimately today, we just wrapped up construction on this, probably 2 months ago. But the Menards is open and operating. We currently own the family entertainment concept, B&B Theaters, in this development. So this was a 40,000 square foot, 7-screen theater complex. It's got a very large arcade component, duck pin bowling, full-size bowling, and then a full-size bar and restaurant as part of it. So these B&B Theaters have really kind of become a key component that we like to bring into these projects. Not sure, that's going to happen in Infield or not, but these are the type of uses that we like to integrate. And then in addition to that, we did 250 multifamily units, which you can see kind of up here in the upper corner. And again, these are built, done, folks are living in them. It's actually fully leased, but this has been another really great project for us. Conestoga Marketplace. This was our second Namdar mall. So we purchased this mall from Namdar in I think it was the tail end of 2022. But this mall was virtually identical to Infield, where it sat on a 50-acre campus. The mall itself was just over 550,000 square feet. All the anchor retailers had left. The interior mall space was about 85% vacant. And the community was, I guess, really, this was a high focus for Grand Island in terms of redeveloping this. So ultimately what we did with this project, which I will tell you, we learned a lot from this one. We kept a small portion of the mall. So we kept about 150,000 square feet, and we flipped it inside out, which are these storefronts that you see here today. So there's no interior mall anymore. But there was 15 tenants that we needed to kind of balance through this project who, had lease term, they had successful stores, and they wanted to stay in the market. So we did have kind of a musical chairs for a period of 2 years, but ultimately we were able to keep everybody open during this period. We moved them to the south end of the mall. We built out their stores on the north end, and then ultimately we were able to move them into their north end, and then tear down the south end of the mall. So this project was anchored by a new to market Target. So we're fortunate to have a really good relationship with Target. But this store opened, I think it was maybe 45 days ago. So the Target store was brand new. They built that on the south end of the mall. We have 12 outlots here. We've got, I think, users on 6 of those to date. This has a very large multifamily component to it. That's 275 units. We're starting construction on those here as soon as weather breaks in the spring. And then we did another B&B theater, full family entertainment concept within this project. So this is one that, again, we've got, I think it's 400,000 feet, counting the outlots of new national retail that is all open in this market. Like I said, we've got 6 tenants that are open on the pad sites. We've got a new hotel that's gone vertical within this project. But ultimately, if I were trying to build the most credibility for infield, this is the project that I would point to, and encourage you. Hey, if you have any questions, reach out to the city of Grand Island. Because I think this is one that we really kind of casted a vision. This was a really big public-private partnership, and ultimately we were able to do a pretty great project. So this is one that we're very proud of, and has been a great project to work on. I think the other 2 that I could take you through quickly, because we don't have to go through every page of this, but similar to Conestoga, we closed on another Namdar Mall property in Logan, Utah, called Cache Valley Mall. We ended up tearing down this entire mall. We had some tenants that we tried to relocate as part of this one, but kind of learned our lesson in Grand Island. So we're able to just fully tear this down. This Target is under construction. They will be open here in about 9 months. We've got 2 additional anchor retailers that you can see just south of Target. You can probably guess who they are. I can't announce those yet, but we'll be starting construction on those 2 boxes here in the next probably 4 months. And then we're fully permitted now on the multifamily. So we've got a 312 unit multifamily complex that we'll be going vertical with really shortly. So you can see the before picture right up here. I know this is a rendering, but this is the after. This was as of July. So you can kind of see the mall is since gone. This is Target's box where they're going vertical. We've got a brand new parking lot that's in. And then you can see kind of the pad sites that are at this point, still under construction with utilities. But again, this is a very similar project to what we're hoping to do here in Enfield. So the last one's Riverside Landing. We just kicked this thing off about probably 4 months ago. But this is a project that's going to be anchored by a new to market Target. We're doing a 4-story mixed use building directly north of Target that has I think 25,000 feet of main level retail. We've got some pad sites along the frontage. Again, this is similar in nature to what we're doing at Enfield, but it's a complete teardown of kind of a defunct shopping center. We're tearing out all the utilities. We're putting new utilities in, and are fortunate to kind of begin to be working with a lot of the same users in these types of developments. So I won't take you through the rest of these. Obviously, we've got Enfield in here, which we've talked about that pretty extensively. We are doing a handful of major sports complex anchored developments. This one's in Joplin, Missouri. We'll be kicking this off here in about 2 months. But this is a 163,000 square foot indoor tournament focused facility. So we've got 2 projects of that scale going right now. I've learned way more about youth sports than I probably ever wanted to. But these are kind of projects that ultimately we're underway with. We've had success with. We've made mistakes on, and I think learned from, but have really kind of built out a good business model that we're now rolling out to the different communities. So in addition to that, I won't take you through all these, but we do have a current portfolio of about 1,000. I think we're closer to like 1,200 multifamily units. Every single multifamily unit that we've ever built, we own today. So it just hasn't been our process to build those and sell them. A big piece of our business is building those and holding on to them, and that is what we would intend to do at Enfield as well. So there will be a sizable multifamily component. It will not be 700 units, but is a component of the project that we're excited to be doing. This kind of gives you a flavor of the various multifamily projects that we've done. Some of them are more urban based, some are more suburban. The Artisan at 39th is a more urban project that I could see us, more similar to what we'd be doing at Enfield. But all of these hopefully kind of cast the vision of what we would want to do at Enfield. So I'm happy to answer any other questions on that. Happy to tell you about all the mistakes we've made, but hopefully that gives a decent overview of the type of projects that we do and really what we would like to do at Enfield.
Anyone? Walter?
So by what I see on paper, I'm assuming Sears is, we're not going to build our own Sears. Is that what, like they did up in Springfield just recently? I'm assuming we have
That's
access,
outside of this purview.
outside of the purview. Okay.
Thank you. Terrence?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for all the pictures of the developments, because that gave us a feel of what type of thing we might be able to expect.
Frank?
Thank you for a great presentation. Maybe staff or the attorney can answer this. So this is STD, zone change. Everything will come in on its own site plan as they come forward.
That is correct. So
Each
fully
different one
this avoids the fully engineered plans for a massive site.
Right.
And so that it comes in piecemeal once they do the subdivision.
And they'll come in, when they come in, they'll come in at the time they come in, they'll come in with whatever current Connecticut general statutes are on the books or zoning
Yes.
regulations.
Yep.
I.e.,
And
there's a
correct.
new, as of tonight, we have new zoning regulations for residential. So Lot 11 will come in as of
I'm sorry, I misunderstood how.
whatever's on the
New
books at the
zoning-
time, not tonight, right? When they come back,
Correct.
whatever's in the Connecticut general statutes, that's what they'll come in under.
If-
Okay.
Yeah, if it's relative, yes.
Okay.
Anyone?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I do have to open it up to the public. Anyone in the public like to speak for or against this application? Anyone like to speak for or against? Seeing no one? Okay, come on back, gentlemen. Okay, sorry to make you get up and come back. Staff, would you like to add anything?
I'm sorry.
Would you like to add anything?
I really don't have anything more to add. They've met the requirements. They've got their proposals. They've got a lot of steps to go ahead of them. But this is the first one, so.
And I do have to say, Mitch, thank you for that presentation of what you've already done. I think that will be helpful to the residents of Enfield, gives them some assurance that this is not going to just be a big blank space. So, anything? Yes, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah. Your sharing the other projects was insightful. Thanks for bringing that up. That brings up two questions I had. One is interesting. One of your projects you noted had ground floor retail mixed with the residential. You mind sharing where this project differs from that project? Because you basically, you're not even leaving the door open for that. So you mind sharing some background on that?
Yeah. On that one, part of the, it's kind of unique. The incentive requirements within the municipality had a residential component at the state level. So you had to have a minimum, I think, of 1 unit per 1,200 square feet of retail. And incentives were a key piece to seeing that redeveloped. And we were a little bit more constricted on the size. So that's kind of where that lended itself to. And then on the Brown Deer project as well, there wasn't a previous overarching declaration that we had to work around where certain uses were designated, certain uses were restricted. So that one was, frankly, that one was a lot easier than Enfield, but had more flexibility on what we could do there.
Just a clarification, they did put mixed use in as a permitted use. So that is a
It's
possibility.
in the narrative.
So, okay, so even though they have designated the different sections, we're still.
Yeah.
So, okay, okay. So
Yeah,
it's
but
still.
mixed use is a permitted use under
potential.
this SDD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Got the right. No, thank you. Thanks for that clarification. And as far as your existing tenants and relocations, you talked about how you've had lesson learned and all. We have a number of small businesses in particular in the mall today. What's the status of that? You guys planning on doing similar relocations? Has any of that effort started?
Infield's a lot easier on that sense, where there's currently only one tenant that we have to deal with that has a leasehold interest beyond a 30-day notice. So we are, for those tenants that are more month-to-month base, we are actively communicating with them to the extent that we can. But we'll make sure that we're abiding by all those leases. But we are communicating with, there's really only one tenant other than the one that has a controlling interest that we're just kind of keeping in the loop as we get closer to closing, so that they can have an idea of when to relocate.
Thanks for that. And then one last thing, more for the rest of the commission. They did put in here under permitted uses for commercial, most of them pretty reasonable. They did put in gasoline service stations. I know there's adjacent on both sides, Freshwater and 220.
Yeah.
There's adjacent gas stations, one on each street. I'm not sure we want that proliferating, especially in a brand new Enfield marketplace development. I would suggest we take that out. I don't know if any of you have thoughts. Again, I want them to have flexibility, but I don't know that that's a positive addition. Applicant, do you guys have anything to say? Is a gasoline service station a strong contender?
Yeah, I would push really hard back on that.
Okay. So you see a very high potential? High potential?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any thoughts on that? No, just.
Ken?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I think a lot of the grocery stores now are wanting to have gas stations next to them. It seems to be a big part of their business, and it might restrict, bringing grocery stores into the mall. And Costco not being a grocery store, we already have a Costco, but I think there are other big box stores that would like to have gas stations near them. So it might make it overly restrictive for the development. I'm just thinking.
No, I appreciate you sharing. Thanks for.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Yes.
Madam Chair, I just have one question, and I'm not sure if you could even answer this properly. Is there a general amount of time that it takes to get your new tenants into these new regional malls, or the PRDs, SDDs rather? I don't know what they are in other states, but I'm just wondering how much time you think it takes to fill these parcels.
I mean, fortunately, this thing just sits within the primary retail trade area, right? Now that's consistent for virtually all the malls that we work on. But a lot of these retailers or a lot of these smaller users, especially, you know, they kind of need to see it, right, before they're going to commit. But I would anticipate that we have, I'm going to say 12 months of site work, 12 to 18 months of site work, where we got to demolish it, get utilities in, get access drives in. But I would fully expect that once the mall comes down, and we're in negotiations with a handful of users right now, that you'll see users going vertical shortly thereafter. So I would think after our closing, you know, site work pending, as soon as we're able to go pull a building permit, you know, with new water in, you're going to see users going vertical. Now there's 12 outlots, so you might not see 12 outlots fill out, you know, within a year. The other piece of that is we want to get, you know, Class A users. But I think, I mean, you've got an established Target there. We really want to make sure Target stays, right? That's a key piece for us. But you've got a brand new Costco across the street. You've got a lot of retail around this. So I think we're going to see some pretty good activity on the outlots.
Thank you. That's very good information.
Just to follow up on the timing that you mentioned, when do you think you'll start the beginning process of demo and reconstruction of the infrastructure? When do you think that'll-
We're going to hope to in March.
This March 2026?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Would you like to add anything?
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, Ms. Secretary, I will entertain a motion for
Madam Chair,
PH 31.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 3134MA.
Oh, we need to close the
I'm sorry.
public. I'm
I'd
sorry.
like to make a
I'm sorry.
motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Okay.
all right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make
Sorry.
a motion to approve PH number 3134MA, 90 Elm Street application for a zone change from Business Regional BR to Special Development District, SDD, Woodsonia Acquisitions LLC applicant, Enfield Square Realty LLC plus Enfield CH LLC plus Enfield NASSIM LLC owners. Map 42, Lot 29, maps 43, lots 16, 17, 24, 26, 29, 30, and 31, and map 45, lot 75, BR zone, with the following condition of approval.
No, it's,
Nope.
no, no.
No, don't have to say that.
The special district, special development district requirements. That's what you need to say.
Oh, with the special, at the
Yeah.
end of the,
Right, we need to say this, requirements.
oh,
Okay.
with the special SDD requirements.
Thank you.
Second.
No, he has to read the requirements.
Okay, read the request.
He has
As
to read the whole
follows.
thing.
As follows. Per section 5.60, if the zone change application and master plan are submitted without the site plan application, the master plan approval is valid for 5 years and shall expire along with the SDD zone designation. If a site plan is not submitted within the 5 years and approved within the statutory timing allowed for the site plan under extenuating circumstances, an additional 5-year extension may be granted in 1-year increments.
Finding.
Finding. In making this decision, the Commission has considered the town's POCD and finds that the application is consistent with applicable POCD policies, goals, and objectives. Reasons for approval. The map amendment will allow for greater opportunity for redevelopment of the abandoned Enfield Square Mall site. The adaptive reuse of the vacant site will bring economic development, new housing, and vibrancy to the town of Enfield and the region.
And then just the effective date.
And the effective date is where?
It's right here.
The effective date pursuant to CGS 8-3D, the revised zoning map shall be effective 2 weeks after the legal ad is posted in the local newspaper, subject to the approved map amendment being posted with the Enfield Town Clerk prior to the effective date.
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Linda DeGray.
Oh, before we do that, is there any discussion?
Discussion on motion.
No, okay. All right, 4.
Frank Alamo.
4.
Ken Helinski is 4. Vincent Grillo is absent. Joseph Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
John Petronella is absent. Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Cruzell.
4.
Rob Anderson.
He's not voting tonight.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
alternate.
My
Okay.
mistake.
All right, so, thank you. And
Thank you,
we look
everybody.
forward to all
Motion
of this.
passes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
We are
Good luck.
looking forward to this. And again, thanks for listening to us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Good
Thanks
night.
for,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
I'm going to have to practice more.
No, I know. Okay, yeah, he's kind of like, all right. All right, when you're ready, Mr. Secretary. PH 3136.
Okay, the,
Let me read the legal notice. Because this is a public hearing,
Right,
so
right,
legal, I know, there's a lot of stuff to remember.
okay. Welcome. The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at their special meeting on Thursday, November 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. PH 3136 5 Harris Street, application for a special use permit to allow a duplex, Jose Quibera, applicant, Maria G. Ramon Sebastian, owner, map 23, lot 14, R33 zone.
Welcome. Name and address for the record, please. Yeah, you. You're on.
So just real quick, we have a language communication barrier, so I'm going to do the best Spanish from what I can remember to help translate your English to
Okay.
his Spanish.
All right, then,
Jose, indique su nombre y dirección para la comisión, por favor. Sí.
he needs to talk into the mic.
English. I'm sorry, my English is not perfect, you know.
That's all right.
So I have the little project for the Harry P. Harry.
I need your name and address first.
My name is Jose Cabrera. I'm living in Providence, Rhode Island, 22 Forest Street, Providence. Zip code 0297.
Okay, great. Now, okay, you can, if you're more comfortable with Spanish, we'll do the best we can with our interpreter. Okay, so tell us about the project.
Jose, voy a darles tus datos. All right, Madam Commission and Chair, this is an application for a special permit request for a duplex. This will be turning the existing single-family dwelling into a duplex, so it will have 2 units. This type of use is allowed in this zone. The requirements for a duplex are pretty strict, I would say. Complicated. So there's 2 sections that kind of come into play with duplexes. One of them doesn't really come into the weeds so much since we don't regulate the percentages and minimums of units per building code now. So section 4.30.2 talked about conversions of buildings for residential purposes, and then 433 is for duplex residents. So this application came with a floor plan to show the 2-bedroom layout with 1 unit on the first floor and a 3-bedroom unit on the second floor. The existing dwelling does have a full basement, and they are offering parking spaces, with which the applicant claims is sufficient for both uses. The owner intends to lease it to a family member, so that's kind of why they believe that they won't have any parking issues, that it should be pretty straightforward for them. The house was built in 1946 and comes with a 1-car detached garage. So I did the density breakdown for 4.30.3. So there's two tests that duplexes have to meet in order to be eligible to be a duplex. One test is the abutting lot test, where at least half of the abutting lots have to also contain a two-family. And then the 500-foot density test, which is this beautiful green piece of paper on the back of my memo with all my mathematical calculations and anxiety for the past 2 months. So what you have to do, and many attorneys, if you remember in the past, don't like doing the density requirement because it's very complicated for them, and it's hard. It's honestly kind of hard to figure out which units have COs, which ones are one family, two family, three family, and then if it's an apartment property, we have to get the information for how many units are in that complex in order to determine the density. So in this situation, this is also a great example of what people have to go through with this requirement for this regulation. But you first want to find the acreage of that 500-foot radius, which is what you see in number 1. Then you want to get the net area of that acreage, minusing the gross area from the subject lot acreage. So you get your net area. Once you get your net area, then you can divide out the density. So when you add all that up, your density ends up being about 5.2 units per acre in this 500-foot radius location. So that's about 5 units an acre. Now we're moving on to finding the proposal of adding their duplex into this density. So now you have 5 units per acre, which is about 1 dwelling unit every 8,712 square feet. But for estimation purposes, 1 dwelling unit for 9,000 square feet. That's pretty much the density there. With their proposal of 2 dwelling units at 5,662 square feet, it does not meet this density requirement. Although it does meet the abutters test, so it does meet half of the requirements. And I was thinking about this test in terms of how many times I've had to do it in the past, and I have never come across a proposal for a duplex that does meet this density requirement. And if you do look at all the lovely little numbers of each lot, this property is surrounded by a lot of multifamily properties, so it would match the character of the neighborhood if it wanted to be a duplex. And I mean, this kind of goes further because I'm not even sure how the existing duplexes got permitted with that density requirement. That would require more historical research that I'm not going to go down at this point in time. But just something to take away from that is it is surrounded by other duplexes and 3 families, even though it doesn't meet the density test, but it does meet the abutting lot test. In terms of conversion for buildings, this is a reg that is a very, very old reg. We don't really define the types of buildings eligible for these residential conversions. We just kind of say existing buildings may be converted. But this section also has a clause where if buildings utilize this regulation, then they cannot add another unit in the future. So it kind of restricts them. However, this applicant has requested to come under 4.30.3 instead of 4.30.2. There are no exterior stairwells proposed. Nothing will change the exterior appearance of the house. All the work the applicant plans to do is inside. I have no concerning departmental comments, just one about the building checking for fire separation, which they usually handle at the building permit side of things. And then just typical conditions, and that's pretty much it. I already did parking.
That it? Okay.
That's it. It's a lot of information.
You sounded like you were going to say another
I was thinking
thing.
about it, but I was like, that's it.
Okay. All right. Rob, any questions?
I'm looking at the floor plans. You said there was not going to be any changes to the floor plan, but the floor plan for the first floor is very different.
There's going to be interior changes only, so nothing exterior.
On the, where it says the existing floor plan, on the front, there's a porch.
I think that porch is in the back.
Or in the back.
Yeah.
And then on the proposed first floor, there's a whole room. There's a bunch of stuff over there.
So the house footprint is remaining the same. There are no exterior changes. It's just interior.
I think there's an addition to this.
I can help. Jose, su pregunta es, ¿se proponen cambios exteriores? So tell him, díseme.
No? Because I'm and the only reason I'm asking is I look here on your existing floor plan. You have a rear porch. On the new floor plan, the porch is enclosed to make a family room.
Hang on.
So can you translate that?
Wait.
Thank you.
We're doing translation here.
Okay.
And partially my memory.
Yeah, it is.
Jose, ella pregunta, ¿los planos muestran un porche trasero,
It's an
pero
additional 12
en
feet.
el nuevo plano el porche está cerrado para convertirlo en una sala de estar? Sí? So he said yes to your question of the floor plan showing a rear porch, and on the new plan that the porch will be enclosed to make a family room.
Okay, so, okay, that was the thing, is the porch is being enclosed.
There might have been a miscommunication that part. He's not pouring like a new foundation or anything. If he's enclosing the porch, then that would be building code.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to,
Yep.
well, actually is extending it too, so there's an additional 12 feet and then an additional 8 feet from what I'm looking at. Or,
Era pregunta, ¿estás ampliando el porche? Cinco más? So he said about 5 feet.
Pero va a mantener,
13 by 7.5.
no vas a romper la fachada. Ya va a ser lo mismo. O sea, el diseño va a ser el mismo, ¿no?
It's the same.
It's the same.
La misma. One second. This one, right?
Mm-hmm.
La misma.
Yes, correct. Aquí vamos a cerrar y le vamos a hacer una puerta. Es el que está ahora mismo. Ese es el que está.
Okay, so he's saying it's the same as it is now. Look at the roof. So the same size.
No, it's definitely not the same size.
What's the size of the porch now?
right. Thank you. I'm not crazy.
Ahora mismo tiene 13 pies y vas a tener 21.
Because look,
It's a
that's
two-family dwelling.
existing, so that porch is new. Okay, that's what I asked.
Okay, so that's new? Oh, okay, so this
Oh,
is,
so you are doing, because I asked you.
It's a cape. It's a cape right now. I think what they're saying is that it's not gonna change from the street itself.
What it's doing, it's just putting out a full second.
All right, we have an update.
Okay, okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so he is, this is a miscommunication.
Okay.
The porch is going to be extended from 13 feet to 21 feet in the back.
and,
All right.
and 7.5 to 12 out.
Okay, Rob, go ahead.
So I take that back. There is a-
And any other questions?
The old kitchen.
No,
Okay,
no, I'm good.
Christian?
No, nothing at the second.
Ken?
Yeah, I'm wondering what it looks like from the front, because we don't have a front view, a street view.
Is the front going to change at all, like when you're looking at it from the street?
It looks like it is, but, yeah.
This is the house across the street. That's across the street.
Showing, you know, so it's gonna be kind of on the side or Gotcha.
These houses are short keys.
Show the other, it's the one on the outside.
From what I
Excuse me, we're trying to,
from what I understand, it is going to be the same color, and there's no architectural changes proposed to the front. So it's going
It's
to
just going to
maintain.
have a
Yeah, it's
second
going to
floor.
maintain the single-family character. So, we just
okay.
Okay, so I'm having trouble understanding the left elevation view then. Okay? I understand the back. It looks like it's going to be built out the back. What I'm trying to understand is, are we going to be able to see the elevation, the square or rectangular elevation from the front, from the street?
the left side from the street.
Or the rear. So this is going to be rear.
Well, the only two pictures we have are the rear and the left side, okay? If you look at the left elevation picture that we have on page 5, it shows the building higher or as high as the cape, but also extended out on both sides,
So like
the back and the front.
building up. this way. Right, increase the height of the house. Jose, vas a aumentar la altura de la casa?
De la casa.
Sí. I'm not saying it right.
Going to
Raise. It's the same.
increase.
I did increase.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Wait one second.
La casa se hará más alta?
No, el piso, first floor, this is inside, you know.
Okay, so he's not going to raise the front.
This is the left and the rear elevation. It doesn't look like. I don't know if it looks like this now.
Georgie?
Yeah.
Does he have more plans than we do? No, okay, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, so when the understanding was he was going to do the interior work. I asked about exterior work, but I think that was a English written miscommunication. I forgot where I was going with that. Hang on. We were looking at the picture of the house. So like this is the current picture, right, with the property card, a little bit
Right.
outdated, showing single family, what it is now. So let me just ask the applicant one question. José, ¿el aspecto será el mismo?
Del primer piso,
¿El mismo o no?
no se va a levantar.
New architecture?
Sí, todo lo que es esa fachada, tú, el primer piso, todo se va a remodelar.
Wait.
Lo siento.
Hang on.
Italian.
Spanish.
Close enough.
That's okay. I used them in Europe. actually.
Sí, el nivel de aquí del primer piso se va a reforzar todo lo que es el ceiling, you know, del primer piso, pero aquí vas a ser más alto, sí. Vas a subir, vas a subir.
The height of the house is increasing.
Ya va a ser más alta desde el primer piso hasta acá, va a ser más alta.
He's got the same height, but he's putting a full dormer on the front.
I can say that, Smith. What does that?
Okay. I think she's got that.
I think that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
Staff recommends just tabling this for
I
now.
was just going to
so
ask
we can
if
get
we
some
could
more
table this until we get
clarification.
more
Yeah.
information. So, because I want to be fair to the applicant.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, un momento, 1 second, please.
Between George and I, we each speak a little bit of Spanish, but.
yeah, and I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable, the applicant feel uncomfortable when we're asking questions. So,
José, la comisión dice que van a presentar su solicitud en la próxima reunión para que podamos obtener más información sobre su propuesta. ¿Sí?
So, next,
when's the next meeting?
Oops. La próxima reunión es el 20 de noviembre.
yeah.
¿Sí? Okay, he understands.
Okay.
You'll
So,
take
all right.
Monday?
Okay. So we're going to table this. And you can ask your
Yes.
question
Yes,
then.
the question on clarification relative to tabling, when I look at page 2 of 5, it looks like he's proposing an addition. It's got a
That's
full
what-
foundation,
this-
full footing.
These are all the
That's what we
things
were
that will
talking
be
about. That's the portion.
That's what we
clarified
need
to be tabled.
Yeah, if you look, it's got a foundation
Yeah,
and
that's what
footing.
we went over that. That is new.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a,
Yeah.
it's a proposed
All right.
addition.
Yes, that's what
Okay.
we.
So, we'll take,
Yes, yes.
the only other question I was going to ask is lot coverage, if there's this addition, because it
Yep,
is a
we
small
always
lot.
check that, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, are you going to ask the public to come speak? So I'll let him know.
Okay, yes.
Yes. José, la comisión va a pedir la opinión del público.
Okay. Anyone in the audience like to speak for or against? Sir, come up and name and address for the record. No, sir, you got to talk into the microphone, please. Hi. Make sure the little, sir, make sure the little red light is on. Sit down and put the little red light on, okay? And I need name and address. All right, thank you.
My name is John Provencher. I live at 3 Harris Street. I came from the sign that was out front about the meeting. We came to get a little information about the project. But listening here tonight, I don't know, you say that no exterior would change. How could you add a story? Or I thought I heard something tonight about a 3rd story. How could you add that on a house without changing the outside dimension? I don't know. Secondly, the parking, you want a variance because it's family members, so you don't need to park cars. And then how about later when you want to rent it to someone else? Or is this a project? Is this a flip? Is somebody just bought this house? Why would you buy a one-story, small little ranch and want to turn it into a duplex or a triplex? The back, you have to understand, my property butts their driveway. Their driveway butts their foundation. There's not a lot of room between the houses. My frontage, I believe, is 55 feet on Harris Street. When you look at my frontage, it looks big compared to that of 5 Harris Street. I don't think their frontage could be 50 feet. I'm not here to fight to stop somebody from doing something they want to do, but there's been a lot of talk about improving neighborhoods. Is this a plus for the neighborhood? Is it a minus, or is it somebody just buying a house and wanting to flip it? I've been in the house many times. I've lived at 3 Harris Street for 40-something years, since 1978. I came tonight just to get a little information. I said, where would you park cars? Our neighborhood is tough on, parking is very tough already. And where would you park cars? Anybody who moves in is going to have a couple of cars for a couple, at least. And that driveway can't be widened. And also that blueprint, that footprint is being changed. It looks like it's going back. I've looked at the prints. I came here and looked at them. It looks like it's going back 11 feet or so.
These are questions that we're going to find out. That we
And
don't have
I just
answers.
wanted to mention it.
Yes, we're going to
so you
table
would
this.
Consider
and-
that.
Yes, it will be continued.
I don't want to be against anybody wanting to improve their property, but is it an improvement? Of course, the outside is going to look different. Right now, it's one story, and then when you tear that roof off and build walls and go up and put a new roof, and it's going to change things. Like
Be
I say,
continued.
I think that's all I need to say.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
But
you.
you have questions that we have, so this will be continued.
I would like to ask one other thing. Is part of the approval process, does someone come to the site, someone from the town come to the site and look at it?
Yes.
Because right now, when they go back, as was on that plan, that building would run into the garage. And I didn't know if is the garage being torn down to make room for this? It's going to run into it, so it's going to knock it down. I mean, I don't know if that's right. I haven't a set of plans in front of me. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Sorry.
No? Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, do you mind if I just let him read this in Spanish?
Yes.
Jose, ¿estás?
Go ahead. It'd be easier.
Oh, God. Read this giant paragraph.
I would think, but it sounds like he is, maybe. Yeah, property owner. Yeah, they got to be here. I'm not sure. Surprised my wife hasn't run down here to. But after the addition, her house is 25 feet wide. I know.
She'll get paid the same.
Yeah, you go.
No, it's right, it doesn't match, yeah.
La Español bueno? Oh, no. See? Okay.
I understand.
He understands. We are good.
Okay. And does he agree that we can table this to his next meeting?
Le parece bien la próxima reunión para obtener más información. Sí? No? Noviembre, sí. Yes. Yes, he's
Okay.
okay with the next meeting.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to table
Madam Chairman, make a
PH
motion to table
3136.
this public hearing until November 20th, which is our next scheduled meeting.
Okay,
Second,
all in favor?
could I just say something? Could we request the owner be present?
I don't know if he is the owner.
He's the representative.
He's the
He's the
The
representative.
owner only speaks Spanish.
Oh, so, all
Okay,
right.
so that doesn't help.
So all in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Okay, so it's tabled until,
Ven a
Thanks.
visitarme mañana o el
Yeah,
lunes.
maybe.
Sí?
If we know somebody that speaks English better.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now I am going to put on a different hat. Does the town have an interpreter for us?
Lori and I do the best we can with the help of AI.
No, I'm just asking, does the town employ
I do
one?
not know. I do
You
not
don't
know.
know. Could you find out so that for our next meeting, we could have an interpreter here to make it easier on the applicant?
Yes, I'll ask.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. There is no old business. New business, SPR 1959.
So this application has requested to be continued to the next meeting. They are trying to get some revisions and more information to us.
Okay, all right, so it's tabled at this point. Okay. We don't need a motion for this, do we? No. Okay. And commissioners' correspondence. Christian, you had a meeting last night.
I was going to talk. Let me just pull up notes. I had the Regional Planning Commission meeting, if you don't mind. Just quick. That's what I had notes on. Yeah, so last week, Regional Planning Commission meeting, we had a good presentation on third places. Third places, it's something that's not your home or your work. Something that's neutral, open to everybody, free or cheap to go to. It was a really interesting presentation, the growing importance of it. I'm just going to share kind of what's directly applicable to us, some notes they had and things to think about with regards to design standards to encourage third places. So consider requiring public access with seating and shade, such as for waterfront developments, which is something that we've seen very recently. Allowing pocket parks, gardens, plazas, and greens. Allowing bars near transit, allowing mixed use, both in the same buildings and nearby. Allowing places near where people live. Reduce or find alternatives to minimum lot sizes or floor areas. This was a fun fact, actually. So apparently, in the average Japanese ramen shop is 385 square feet. So you want to talk about small lot sizes?
Yeah.
New York's average New York City cafe 600 to 1,000 square feet. Obviously, those are extremes, but pretty interesting. But just something to think about: minimum lot sizes, eliminate or reduce parking mandates, widen sidewalks, evaluate permitting process for unintended roadblocks. And then thinking about cul-de-sacs with no neighborhood connectivity. That's an interesting one. It's indirectly bad for third places because it decreases walkability and increases distance between destinations. So at the very least, connecting neighborhoods with sidewalks, walking paths. So yeah, third place is really, really, really fascinating subject. They talked about a PA 2533, which is a climate resilience bill that passed this past summer regarding accounting for hazard and climate projections in future POCDs after 2027. I think we got some time before that's directly applicable to us. And then they talked briefly about the CT Municipal Development Authority, CMDA. I'm sure staff is probably more familiar with it, but it's a statewide initiative to create more housing in your downtowns and TOD areas, which for us would basically
I believe
be Thompsonville.
the council did sign something to be involved with that because of our TOD.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, so that they can help provide guidance and professional support. So, and then they talked about RPC appointments. They need them before their next meeting in March 2026. So that would be for the next council. So just putting that on everybody's radar.
Okay. And anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Director of Planning. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I called you about.
Well, first I just wanted to let you know that Georgie and I both attended the SNEPA conference, which is the Southern New England American Planning Association conference. It's a regional conference for planners. It's Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So that's the Southern New England part. Yeah, and they also have annual events for, basically the whole country, but then there's regional ones. So we went to the one in Newport, Rhode Island. It was very nice. Of course, nice surroundings. But we also had a lot of really nice classes, a lot of missing middle and ethics and historic preservation. There was one that I went to under historic preservation that was really kind of interesting because they would preserve this one beautiful building, and the one next to it may have been, dilapidated, so they'd knock that down, and then in the back of them, they would build some, not anything with the same architecture, but same coloring and style, sort of, for some sort of affordable housing. And you couldn't even see it from the street. And it was really cool. That was just one little tidbit. So these are things that we need for credits for our accreditation, and aside from that, they're just really good classes to take. So I appreciate the town letting us attend these. Linda called me ahead of time, so I'm all prepared.
Good, because we seem to be having issues with developers just doing whatever they want after we approve them, and I will start with Middle
67
Road.
Middle Road.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes, the Middle Road.
So if you all recall, there was a developer that wanted to come in and do a single-family modular home on a single-family lot and didn't want to put in a basement. So they did a text amendment to have a slab on grade for the manufactured house. So they did that. They put in a building permit or a zoning permit to do exactly that. And then afterwards, it was modified and changed to helical pilings or piers. which are basically like these big screws that go in the ground, and then the house is placed on that. But if you look at our definition of slab on grade, it is slab on grade and only that, and we don't talk about these helical pilings. Helical, it's both. Anyway, so we kind of had an issue, and we've sort of fixed it by that they're still going to pour the slab with the helical pilings. So the house is going to be the exact same elevation. It's going to be the exact way it was going to be looking, either regardless of what's underlying the house. And so we kind of came to a conclusion that we would let that happen, but we need to have a conversation before anything else happens. So, and I think that it's not that we just need to have a conversation with the applicant and maybe our process, because we figured out that the building department doesn't necessarily go and look at what the plan was from the zoning permit. So that's a little hiccup there. But building plan, building requirements are changing. These helical piles are exactly the same to them as a slab on grade. So we're gonna have to maybe have a conversation when we're doing our zoning regulations again, as to maybe modifying this a little bit to kind of catch up to modern technology. So for now, it's going to look the same. It's the exact same elevation. Everything's going to be the same, except you don't necessarily see what's underneath. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
And it met building permit
But
requirements.
the thing that was really upsetting was the fact that they sat there and we were very adamant about what we wanted, and then that just changed. And I don't know where the breakdown was between that developer and the actual contractor.
I believe the developer's contractor modified it, maybe without notifying them.
I don't know.
So,
but that is an
there was
issue.
maybe some miscommunication on many points. So
Yeah.
So
Those helical piles or whatever you called, what's their function? Do they make the slab stronger? What do they do? Is it like a footing? Is it like a sonotube? What
it's literally a big screw. It's probably like a 10-foot long screw.
It's what they use for houses in flood zones too.
Yeah.
So does it reinforce the slab on grade process that makes it stronger?
Go ahead, because Joe seems to have
Joe,
one.
If you ever seen somebody with a big auger to drill holes in the ground
Yeah,
for fence
exactly.
posts,
That's what they
it's
are.
basically what it is. So it has an auger bit on the end, about that much, and then it's just as a long pipe, and they screw that thing down, then pass a frost line, and that's it. They cut it off, and they have a coupling on top that attaches to the structure.
So it's probably a good thing.
So it's basically replacing sonotubes
Right.
in concrete.
Yeah.
Right.
And they use them all over the place now.
Right.
And they have it, each one will hold X amount of weight, so they calculate how many they need per structure and stuff, but yeah.
It's probably a good
It's,
thing. That's reinforcing it, sounds like.
It's less labor and stuff. They have usually like a bobcat with a screw thing on it, and they attach to it and just goes in the ground in literally a minute, and that's it.
Oh.
Just screws itself on the ground, doesn't go anywhere.
And does rebarb go inside of it?
Nope, it's just a pipe with the things. They stay
Yeah.
on there in the ground. They're usually between 12 and 18 inches across in diameter, same size as a sonotube.
Huh, interesting.
Didn't we have something similar to that with the solar array that they were putting up on, by the, in the corner of, no, it was on,
Talk about Lego, wasn't it?
yeah, not Lego, by the firehouse there on,
That may
on
be,
Post
but it
Road,
wasn't
the
a,
corner
it
of
wasn't
Post
a,
Road.
Wasn't a
wasn't a
foundation.
It
foundation
wasn't a
for a
foundation.
house.
Yeah, but same type of thing, where they were putting stuff in to
Yeah.
hold the,
Yeah.
They're using them a lot for decks nowadays instead of digging holes and filling them with cement and sonotubes. So you literally can start framing your deck in a matter of an hour. All the things will be in place, and you just go to
Yeah.
town. No waiting on concrete to cure or anything.
Right.
So, yeah.
So again, when we discuss our zoning regulations again, we will maybe
Something
go,
to
go
look
back to
at.
this and staff could do a little bit more research and, you know, as far as the building department is concerned, they're absolutely fine with these
And that's what's important.
helical or helical.
Helical
right?
is the proper pronunciation.
Okay, then we had
Helical.
another issue with our Stonebridge Commons.
Stonebridge Commons, also
What's going on with
previously
them?
known as Brainerd Gardens.
Yes.
So, they are located southwest corner of George Washington and Brainerd Road. The last approved was the multifamily housing development. Originally, it was a multifamily, age-restricted development, and then they changed that. They got the zoning regulations changed, and then they came in under those new zoning regulations. Now a new owner has purchased it and is selling them as 55 and older. So we have put a cease and desist. He has appealed that, and we are in conversations with him, but at this point, there should be no activity whatsoever on the site.
Well, that's not happening because there's activity going on.
That's what I've been told.
There's
So,
another foundation that's been poured and they're digging in a fourth, so.
okay,
Okay, so I'm just letting you know.
yep.
Then there's Kia across the street. They're is that all settled? Because I know they just
believe so.
started their
They've
construction.
had their pre-construction, they've posted their bonds.
Okay.
There's a question of a container on there, but I haven't seen it yet. So
Okay,
we're not
and
sure if it's
then-
the one that used to be there or maybe something new. We're still
And
investigating.
then Dairy Queen, I see that they're all done, but they left their benches where we told them no benches. So
Not sure if they're final.
I don't think they're done.
I don't think they're done.
the parking lot is done.
They're not.
Yeah, but there's
they're not
other
done,
things.
Done. There's a lot more to be done.
Okay.
But we'll go make sure that the benches are
Yeah,
out of
because
the
they're
front
still
area.
open and there's cars going and, you know, lately we see a lot of cars going through stores. And I've seen people fly down Enfield Street and I'd
in
hate to have
houses.
kids sitting there and be taken out because they got comfortable and mom and dad weren't paying attention.
Because they wanted an ice cream.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't want to see. kids.
Understood.
So,
So, and then the House Bill 8002, the 99-page
Yeah.
comprehensive housing bill was passed by the House. We don't know where it's going. I don't want to say that we've really reviewed it in great depth. Georgie has had time to look at it more, but I don't really want to discuss it at great depth because it could get vetoed again. And I don't want to waste our time.
I did watch yesterday.
Yeah.
All day.
I didn't notice ADUs or
Well, apparently there was a lot of changes. It was 99 pages,
It
and then
was
it
90
changed to
it was 90
109 pages.
yeah.
And they just got it yesterday morning before the hearing, but it did get passed. I do know that in the
They
House.
got it last week. Well, they got it. was
Well,
it
they
Monday?
got the 99-page one on Friday, but then
Yeah.
they got the 109-page one yesterday morning, an hour before the meeting. Oh, yeah, that was a big
new one?
thing. Yeah, it's a big. It was big, and there was changes, and so that was a lot of the discussion was what the changes were, where were they, and so that was. But it did get passed. In the House.
Right, but it's-
So
but
it's at the Senate now, and I don't
Right.
know if they.
So there's
what
still
they've
two
done.
more steps, and you know
Right.
we kind of rely on our Capital Region Council of Governments and some other organizations to kind of do some summaries for us. And I'd rather just wait for them to do that.
Yeah, 'cause
Like
we
I say,
don't-
we've scanned it, but it could change tonight,
Right,
literally.
it could change
It
again.
could be changing as we
So-
speak.
so,
So
yeah.
when we get a final thing, we'll certainly give you some updates on that.
Yeah. 'Cause that
And
was
then I have
interesting.
something else. We did get a notification from East Windsor on, for 173 North Road, of permit for a multifamily development, 4 apartment buildings with 152 units total and 8 rows of townhomes with 37 units total, and associated parking and improvements. So Georgie and I discussed it, and, the only thing that we could think of that might be of issue is maybe some traffic coming up into Enfield. I don't think it, Can I finish my sentence? God.
It's these
And
days.
we thought about stormwater, but it actually drains towards East Windsor, or into East Windsor, rather, so. We'll let you know if we see anything of great concern. Yeah. So, so right now it's just before wetland, so we'll take a look at the plans and see if there's anything concerning.
Completely off topic, completely. Those apartments that they built in East Windsor that have never, they built them and.
On North Road?
Yeah.
The ones that were supposed to be for like
Because I know you
55 and
worked in
over?
East Windsor. Are they ever going to do anything with that?
To the best of my knowledge, they're actually getting ready to open, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, I left, they were still like working on it, and then they stopped working on
Right,
it.
that-
And, because I left 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are they doing? Okay, then that was completely off topic.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be 55 and older and walkable to the little,
Yeah.
plaza.
Shop.
And
Yeah.
which is also not built. Yeah, I think it was that developer may have had an issue.
Issues, yeah.
Or two.
Okay.
Do we have any idea what's going on in front of St. Pat's Cemetery?
No, they're just clearing.
You mean down on Enfield Street?
Yeah.
Is that St. Pat's, the one right by the entrance or the exit? Yeah, so they are just clearing it. They're just clearing the site so they could show it for sale. They have every right to do that.
It's like they put a road in there.
They did.
In order to clear the site, you're taking wood out. You need a truck to take the wood out, and so therefore they put in a driveway. Yeah.
They logged it and stumped it.
Yep.
Frank?
You have an update on 600 Enfield Street, the proposed new car wash, gas station, convenience store?
Did you hear? I'll let Georgie say. I know some of it.
They are moving forward. They're looking good. They did their pre-con, and they've done their bonds, and they're moving forward.
They don't. Okay, but they don't have OSTA approval.
Yeah, they still need to go back to the state, though.
So.
And we
that-
did
that's-
give them
that's a
that
delay.
extension. That 6-month extension,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, applications to be received.
We have public hearing 3137, 78 Brainerd Road, application for a special use permit for a home occupation. Kevin and Darlene Ferguson, applicants, owners, map 36, lot 293, R33 zone. And public hearing 3138 at the same address, 78 Brainerd Road, application for a special permit for a duplex. Kevin and Darlene Ferguson, applicants, owners, map 36, lot 293, and R33 zone. There's one listed here for SBR 1960, 45 Windsor Street, but we had already received that.
Okay. All right. I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All right.
See you next week.
Yeah.
8:48 p.m.
Can't go for the week. Although we can't. It's gonna be
Who is Walter and who?
I don't know.